morning. Good morning. Make sure my mic is on. Pressing buttons. Hello. Happy Thursday. I think it's Thursday. Thursday all day today. All day is Thursday. Can't change that if you want it. Ain't got no free will, man, lady. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, brother Will. Aisha, good morning. Press my buttons. My coffee going. My head was jumping all over the place this morning. Sometimes, I wonder sometimes, man, my head was in crazy places. Sometimes I think the aliens sent seeds down to this planet that had compounds in it, that when we ingest those compounds, they make our brain in tune with quantum physics type environments, multi-dimensional understandings, Nikola Tesla, Edgar Cayce, Jesus, Buddha type deep level connections to who knows what in a K-Pax movie type of way. I have no idea. All I know is when I drink my coffee, I'm a hell of a lot smarter. That's all I know. I drink coffee and my brain goes places. And I stop drinking coffee and I just walk around the rest of the day like Homer Simpson. Nope. Some of you guys get it from cannabis, I guess. Some of y'all get it from mushrooms. Other y'all get it from other stuff. I just, all I know is I drink this stuff right here and I'm not myself. It's the weirdest thing. And I used to drink this stuff and I used to go to work. Work for the biggest corporations on the planet. Help them to take away free will from the creatures of the earth. That's what I was thinking about this morning. How's everybody? Y'all doing good? Mara from the UK, good morning. Aja, I actually said your name right, did I? I know, Aja. In the United States, we still got a little education left. A little education system, a little bit. A little public education. It teaches us about the A's and the J's, and you mix it with an S and an A, and it might come out kind of like an Aja. Oh, man. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody is good. I'm a little early this morning, but I was thinking. I was looking at nanotechnology. I was looking at the new interfaces with, and I'll look at them in a minute. The new interfaces, interfacing human skin, electronic impulses into software, into computers. Hold on, I'm the comment thing. I was thinking, and it took me to a thought process. I'm thinking everything, the natural world, everything, going back to the beginning of time on these planet things that we live, it's all about the consumption of resources. All about the consumption of energy. It's all about coming up with various strategies to collect as much energy, minerals, asteroid dust as possible. And of course, pre-robots, pre-cyborgs, the most efficient way to do that is through the deniance of free will. Like here's an example. Let me see if I can pull this up here. I was thinking about, here we go. Look at this right here. Right, solar energy comes from the sun, hits the planet. The tallest trees they put their solar panel leaves out. They pull in that energy. They store it up. They collect minerals from deep, deep down in the ground, deeper than your tomato or whatever root systems can go. And they pull all that energy up and they drop their leaves. Other things pick the leaves up. Other things make fruits. The mammals eat the energy in the form of a fruit. The predator comes by and eats the mammal. Everything, all energy. Because minerals are energy too. Everything is a consumption of energy. And the more creatures you can deny free will from, the more energy you can collect. Free robot. I think there's never been any other battle on this planet other than the haves versus the have-nots. And what I mean by haves, I'm not talking deep state yet. I'm not talking elites yet. I'm just talking those who have the ability to do something the others can't or aren't, to take their resources. And they do that through taking their free will. I know it's leading down to corporations and big stuff like, oh, hold on, you know. So behind me is the strangler fig. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the strangler fig. I know you're familiar with poison ivy, poison oak. But plants that have learned to be haves. They've learned to scale up trees and temples. Your favorite maple tree. To consume resources from the sun at a higher level in the canopy. To dig its roots into the bark of the tree. To pull water, consume energy, consuming resources, taking it. Eventually killing the tree. Strangler fig. Cholla wood, if you're familiar with it. After the tree is dead, let me show you a picture. After the tree is dead, I think I can show you this. After the tree is dead, there's nothing left but a hollow structure. I think I can show you this picture. The consumption of resources has always been it. And it's most efficient through the denial of free will. And I think, okay, yep, hang on, wait, oh, that's not it. There we go. Hold on, here we go. We're gonna get there. Gotta play with my technology. Okay, that's that picture. But look at this. The strangling fig, right? So it's learned to, I keep grabbing the wrong thing. What am I doing? It keeps, I keep messing it up. Oh, I know why. Hold on, there we go. I'm gonna figure it out. That, I wanna get rid of the consumption of solar energy, and I wanna put this over here. There you go. Hide that brother in the picture. Anyway. Consumption of energy. Make this a little bigger for y'all to see. So the strangler figs, these plants have learned to outdo trees, right? They've learned to scale them. You know, trees came along and they had this thing called lignin. The plants didn't have it, so the trees could grow taller with the lignin. That was after the giant mushrooms was on the planet. I know y'all think I'm crazy, but the planet was actually full with giant mushrooms. 20, 30 feet tall mushrooms, imagine that. That's pre-Garden of Eden, but that probably is a little too deep for most people, so I'm not going to go there. So these plants have learned to scale to the tops of trees, consume better resources, more resources, become haves, take their energy, take energy higher in the solar canopy, eventually kill the tree and leave a hollow-like structure. The battle on this planet has always been haves versus have-nots. And the haves always win. And the have can be anything. The have can be an ability to scale a tree and pull its water. The have can be an ability to grow taller with lignin and get more solar energy. The have could be growing fangs and ripping apart flesh of mammals that are taking the resources from the non-have plants that have not discovered a way of actually consuming the energy and the resources. I'm saying this the way I am for a reason, because I think we don't know what we are. We don't know really how this world even works. And I think if we think about it, the natural world answers those questions for us. And so the battle has always been haves versus have-nots. Human beings came along. Intelligence. Oh, intelligence is a have. Learning to work like a collective makes you a have. Guns make you a have. Cannons perhaps make you a have. You know, Outside of the guns and the cannons and the bombs and the drones, you know, the greatest have thing that you have is knowledge. Knowledge makes you the greatest haver of all the haves. Unless there's a have that has a little more knowledge than you, and it can make you a have not. It can deny your free will. You can have all the cannons, guns, bombs, and drones that you want. If you don't have the knowledge that allows you to put together a strategy, where the enemy is, what you got to do, that other half's going to make you a have not. Or that have not's going to make you a have not. Which is why I always get back to this point of government can't have secrets. The very secrecy that they have makes them a have over us. It gives them the ability to collect our resources by denying us free will, getting us to fight over really stupid, dumb things that don't matter, or getting us to fight over little pieces of energy while it takes all the big energy, all the big minerals. I think the elites are the haves in our society. Let me look at another society. Hold on, let me look. My brain is going a couple places this morning. Just bear with me if you will. I'm trying to piece this together. So hopefully it makes some sense to you. Think about the lion. Way down in the jungle deep. It's one of my favorite poems. But anyway, look. Think about the lion. Think about how the lion, hang on. Think about how the lion, the male lion, is a have. The male lion has learned how to consume more resources by using its have ability. It uses its muscles, a little bit of its wisdom to take over a pride, to sleep all day while it denies free will of the lionesses and the rest of the pack and makes them go out and hunt for it. Don't get me wrong, the big lion, the male, he'll get involved sometimes. But in the pride, he's the have. Now, the pride, the lionesses, some of them know, but most of them don't really know that if they get together, that they can push the male lion out. But they need the male lion. They need their have. Consumption of energy, consumption of resources. I think that the only fight that's ever existed on our planet, every single species from plant to mammal to dinosaur to human to everything, is the haves keeping the have-nots fighting, denying it free will, and taking all the energy they have, or the vast majority of it. Think about, where are we going as a species? Where are we going? We want to stop the robots. We want to stop the automation. Will we? Can we? Will we actually start an initiative to slow down or stop the automated robots that are coming, that are going to replace all human labor and eventually all human thought? I don't think we will. I don't think we can. I don't think it's our destiny. I think that the consumption of energy is how a species becomes a have, and it's the only way it gets to survive. And the species that figure out the more efficient and better ways to do it, that species, those species get to continue, and the rest go extinct. People, you know, I have a lot of friends, they don't want to have anything to do with technology, right? I got friends that live in cabins, minimum technology. I got friends that don't have smartphones. I got friends that don't have computers. They don't have anything to do with it. But does the next generation? Right? Like, I think we're encoded at the genetic level. I think we're encoded perhaps by whatever the heck put us here and genetically engineered us to make us, to help us to understand that we have to constantly be consuming resources. The struggle, the only struggle that's always ever been on this planet. Let me take the lionesses down and put back up where's my solar radiation. Will people give up their smartphones? No, they won't. Will people deny AI when it hits the door? No, they won't. Will people deny the RFID chips? No, they won't. People love technology. They're encoded to go with the more proficient ways of consuming their resource, their energy. Call it money if you will. Call it a new car, new house. You're not going to stop people from consuming. You're not going to stop people from doing what every species and all bacteria on this planet always are encoded to do: collect energy, collect resources, and beat out the have-nots. You're not going to stop that. Automation is coming. Robots are coming. Smartphones are the proof of it, because they're actual dumb phones, and there's nobody that's going to give them up. Very few people will walk away from it, and if you do, your kids won't. That's just, they're encoded to do it. What's the next step? What is the next step? Will we ever become cyborgs? People say, no, we ain't never gonna be no cyborgs, man. You ain't never gonna stick no probes in me. You ain't gonna never. Are we not already cyborgs? Go down to your local city, New York City, Chicago, New York City. Going down to London. Tell me we're not already cyborgs. Tell me that you can't get on a train without people holding these little things. Tell me. Now, mind you, the probe doesn't go in the back of the neck. The probe isn't connected through their skin. But they are utilizing automation, technology, and electronics in a different way that a cyborg would. Now, mind you, they don't look like anything like Locutus. What's his name? Locutus? Locutus. Locutus from Star Trek. Y'all know who Locutus was? Locutus. Let's find a picture of Locutus. There you go. There, brother. Let me show you, brother. For my Trekkie friends. Locutus. And Picard became a cyborg. But are we not already cyborgs? Are the kids not already? Like, we looked at like computer and gaming and how you can't get kids to walk away from these games. They'll pay 10, 15 hours of computer games a day. Like, with the kids, I guess maybe they become a little cyborgs. I'm not. Do you work on a computer? Do you work on a computer 8 hours a day to collect your resources? Do you have a cell phone to connect with your friends, make you a little happier, connect with your family at a distance, to collect your resources? Of course you do. We are becoming cyborgs, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop it, because we are encoded to eventually become cyborgs. Now, will cyborgs, humans that are utilizing technology, ever become full-fledged robots? I don't know. I don't know. You listen to some of the things that Elon Musk, no, it wasn't Elon. Yeah, it was Elon Musk. Talks about in terms of human interface with AI. And if we don't interface with computer software and hardware, that eventually AI will definitely replace us. That we need to have the ability to do the things Stephen Hawking and some of these folks do to control robots, to control or combat whatever it is that they end up doing. It should have become nefarious. The goal of every corporation on this planet, the goal of every government on this planet, is to consume more energy, to deny free will where they can, so they can consume more than you. Sometimes I think that our brains haven't evolved to have control over one another. I don't know that that's it. The more I think about this, I think that our brains actually have evolved to do what they were designed to do: consume more energy at more highly efficient and proficient ways. So what would a corporation do made up of 100,000 human being employees? They're going to help the corporation consume as much energy as it can, perhaps no matter who it kills, from what country. so they can consume their resource in their house, outcompete the impoverished people in their area. I don't think that we're less evolved in this consumption of resources. I think that this is actually what we are. We're becoming cyborgs, but that's not the type of cyborg we're becoming. I don't think that that picture is correct. I think that picture is false. I think that picture is false. Let me tell you why. We like to talk about we're all connected. I have a lot of friends who say we're all connected. We're all connected through quantum entanglement, right? Every cell in your body right now is connected with everybody else's cell in all of their bodies, all over this planet, perhaps all over the universe. We are all connected. We actually, when people tell you that we're one, they're not lying. They're not lying. It's not metaphorical. It's not religious. It's not spiritual. It's completely true. Physically, all matter is energy. All energy is all completely connected. And the experiments into quantum entanglement prove that. We are all connected right now, whether you like it or not. And I don't like it. My nose right now is connected, wherever Captain Picard is, I don't know where you're at right now. Patrick Stewart, my nose is connected with his anus right now. So is yours. As bad as it is, right now, your nose is connected with his armpits. If he hopefully not at the gym. It sounds crazy, but it's not. It's just true. Which is why I don't think there's such a big difference between spirituality, what the ancients talked about, and what's going on now. I think that the human beings, it's not even human beings. I think that everything on this planet is one organism. It actually is one organism, and it's all connected. Now, it may not all be connected in this dimension in a way that we can see. We know it's connected. We can't see how it's connected, but we know it's connected. Scientific fact. We are actually one organism, perhaps in a different dimension. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? Isn't that, I don't know, omnipotent, if you will. Omnipotence. You know, that thing that can't exist, the thing that the ancients talked about, that spirituality stuff, that God stuff that just can't be true. There's no way a creature knows everything. What if we are that creature? What if we're a part of that creature, the Gnostic beliefs? What if, because I don't see like a difference in all the things that they talk about. We already are all connected. But we're connected for something in some sort of a quantum physics, whatever relationship, for whatever purpose. I'm not going to tell you what this God, multi-quantum physics, dimensional creature thing is. Some people think it's aliens as God and angels and demons. I don't know. But something connects everybody in a different dimension. Call it God. But are we not trying to connect everything in this dimension? Right? Think about the elites, denying of free will, consuming energy on this level, this plane. They're trying to connect everybody for other reasons. Right? And I think that's the current struggle in my mind, is I'm trying to figure out what is the end game. So we're all connected. We're all one organism. We're all the whole Avatar, Na'vi thing in that dimension. But what's happening here? We are not connecting in a way that's helping each other. The have-nots, the haves are denying our free will, connecting us together through the internet, through electronics, through societies, through monetary systems, through the consumption of resources we do through mobile phones, for their benefit. For their benefit. Think about self-determination a lot. I don't know that free will and self-determination is what we think it is. I don't think we give it the credit and the value that it deserves. I think that people think that, oh, well, you just want free will so you can go off and smoke your cannabis. And there's some people who want to do that. Not me. I don't do smoke. I'm not interested in smoke. I don't want any smoke in my lungs. I hold my breath when I drive behind y'all in cars. Get behind the car and smoke as long. I don't want any smoke in my lungs. But I'll drink a cannabis tea. I'll maybe eat a cannabis salad, but I'm not going to smoke it. But what if, I don't know, what if that thing in that other dimension needs human beings to have free will? What if when these God things talked about free will, that whatever people go and do, it allows them to expand their mind and take them into places and have experiences that fulfill the collective? What if human beings, what if every piece of bacteria or multicellular organism on this planet are actually just sensors for a God thing in another universe? What if the haves here are just using a lack of information? They're using secrecy. They're using tanks, bombs, guns, drones, monetary systems, and governments to become God. It makes perfectly good sense that if we have some sort of creator, whatever, we're in a program simulation, I don't know, some fungi, microbiology in another dimension that are using us as arms to collect resources. I don't know. Too deep. Hurt my head. No, I haven't done DMT, Plummy K. Plummy K asked me if I did DMT on YouTube. No, I didn't do it. Nope. Scared of it. I'm already scared of what the things, the thoughts that y'all give me in my head now. I'm not sure that it's interesting. Is it a good idea to make the haves gods? Or the haves are already not gods? Little gods. But let me go with you a little further. I'm going to show you something. I don't think, though, that this picture of cyborgs, that's not where we're going. I can't, let me show you something. Let me see if I can show you this. I was looking at this morning. I have to post it. Let me see. Look at that. You know what that is? That's a sensor. That is a nano-engineered bio-interfacing sensor that is on someone's skin. Mind you, I think that the pictures of cyborgs with all these plugs going in, I don't think that's real. I don't think that's reality. Let me show you why. Let's let him.
I prepared a microscopic image. I took them last night. You see that?
Human skin.
That's my bare skin from forearm. Our skin is not flat. Instead, it has curvilinear, contoured surface, right? And how about electronics on my skin?
Look at that. So what he was showing you, that see, human skin isn't flat. So you can't really just take a modern sensor and just slap it on and get a highly detailed signal. This is their sensors. They have a sensor where they spray on a sort of a sticky type glue that allows that sensor to go down in the concaves and curves of your skin to pull out more data, to interface with more electronic impulses coming from your cells. Scary future we're going into, scary times. How is that significant? You realize that every thought you have, every brain passageway, all of it, it all goes through every cell in your body. It's all interconnected. Are they attempting to attach us to something? And mind you, so the whole locutus Borg cyborg thing, I don't think that's reality. I think that that's based on this idea we have on really old technology. This actually is starting to get us to a place what cyborg technology would look like. And I know somebody's gonna say 5G, and I can feel it coming. Cyborgs aren't ever gonna exist. We're never gonna look like all of that. There's no need to. Technology is not that slow, stupid, and dumb. Technology is much more advanced than that. You ever heard of biophotons? I mean, we don't even know that it's going to take the path of electronic pathways, right? Because you have biophotons. Every cell in your body emits 1,000 pulses of light every second. You ever get a feeling about someone when you just walk in front of someone and you get this feeling, good feeling, bad feeling? I don't know if it's a quantum entanglement message or a message of light, but your body and every cell in it is constantly communicating with all the other cells, and it's constantly communicating with everybody that you walk around. It's crazy, but no, Brother Terry says it's not sci-fi. It's not sci-fi. This is crazy. So let me show you what they can do with this. Let me walk this brother. I'll post it so you can see the details. So what you can do is you can put this sensor on. You can put the sensor on, and it's emitting all these pulses. So you put it on your hand. And that's a helicopter. It's a quad helicopter on the ground, a little drone. And what you can do is you can program the software, and this is just, I can program the software so that when I go like this with my hand, it's going to pick up a certain type of electronic impulses. And this movement right here, it has a very precise, specific electronic signature. And I can record through software when I go like this, send every drone in my 1,000,000 drone fleet to America and shoot everybody that has 2 feet, everybody that has a beating heart, shoot everybody that's in this state, shoot everybody that's in this country. And all I got to do is do that. It's crazy. Here he is controlling his quad helicopter with his hands. He's already programmed the software so that as he makes certain movements, you can see him in the corner, the helicopter is flying in different directions. This is the world we're coming into. Now I have the extreme example, quad helicopters, killer drones, actually going to kill everybody when I just go like that. When Kim Jong, some ill goes like, when one of the Rothschilds just goes like that. Everything is a struggle between the haves and have-nots and the consumption of energy, and always has been. The haves, what are the haves? The haves are creatures or species that learn how to grab more solar energy by denying other things free will, the significance of free will, the significance of self-determination. And of course, it always leads me down this conversation of corporations, denying human beings the ability to go about their day, requiring that they get in these cars, drink their coffee, head off to the office, and begin working so that they can have a little bit of solar energy while the corporation keeps a massive amount of solar energy, so that it can evolve to a point where it has robots that can do a little more efficient job than what you do. I don't know that it'll be a direct jump. I think the vast majority of jobs, probably 80%, 90%, are easily automatable. They're very easy through software and through hardware. Very easy. But then you still have that 20% that might be a little bit difficult, right? So you think you're in that 20%, you think you're in that 10%, and you don't have to join the world collective of 7 billion people who don't want to have their free will continually taken by these corporations and the haves. You'll be the cyborg, right? There are certain level jobs I can imagine that are going to be quite difficult. They'll require some sort of, some level of thought, some sort of dynamic impulse and relationship with software and the robots to make them do that. You'll just become a cyborg. They'll just take a glove and put it on your hand and slap a probe on your head, whatever it is. But they still will deny you free will. Your children still will have no self-determination. This is not a dark this is not a dark video. I don't want anyone to think that this is not dark. It's not a dark message. It is a true message. It is a real message. And the reason why I take things back to the natural world is because I don't think that we have as much control as we think we do of ourselves. I think that we are creatures that have 700 billion cells that are doing things, half of them human, half of them not. and they're all entangled quantum physically with another dimension and something else that we don't understand, whether it's God or whatever, I don't know. But if you look at our core level, the basis of how those single cell organisms, how they behave in the multicellular ones, in the consumption of energy, then you understand why we do what we do. You understand that the elite, they're not a great evil. They're retarded, they're stupid, they're greedy, they're psychopathic, but they're only developing the core of what we all are, because we all are connected. Ish said, if something isn't going to make me more human and empathetic, I'm not interested. Well, that's the scary part, Ish, is that we all have limits to what we will go. But the next generation will always go further, won't they? At our core, if we are energy collectors, can we really deny ourselves? I mean, we can look with our conscious minds and make conscious decisions. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. But our subconscious mind still drives us. And we don't even know what our subconscious mind is. We don't know if it's a collection of cells, the neurons that are developing these thoughts, and bacteria or some sort of quantum physics. We don't even know. But what I do see is that it's a bad idea to continue to go down this path of helping haves who have the data, who have the information, who have the secrecy, who have the classified documents, who have the drones and the guns and the bombs. It's a really bad idea to continue to give them a massive global domestic production collection of energy so they can make these decisions for us. We give it to them. We give it to them by denying ourselves free will. We let them dictate to us what being human is. We let them dictate to us what human beings should be doing. We let them, no matter who you are, we let them dictate to us, no matter what your skin color, what country you're in, your religion, no matter what is important to you. None of that is important to them. You're still doing precisely what they want. You aren't self-determining. They've determined it for you. And not only that, but then you hand your kids their society based on slavery. Mary's saying, imagine if we could join together and our energy overcame the thoughts of the psychopathic energy. Mary, of course it's possible. And of course we can. I believe in what is it? The description. There's a theory about species and what it will look like on planetary bodies if and when we ever start to circumnavigate the solar system, that we're going to run into planets, and most of those planets will be like Earth. They'll just be destroyed civilizations, right? Because they killed themselves. And that the vast majority will just be destroyed planets because they never got to a place where they were able to figure out a system that worked for everybody. I think that the only way we make it, Mary, is if we actually figure out how to work as a collective where beings have their free will to discover the things they need to bring back to the collective that level of data or information or technology or whatever it be, and we all contribute as a collective. I think that's the only way we don't become a destroyed planet, a destroyed civilization in the future. I last heard from Michio Kaku. It has to be, I forgot the original philosopher who came up with the philosophy that if you look all over Earth, all you have are destroyed civilizations. Everywhere you dig down, you're going to run into remnants of a destroyed civilization. And so odds are the planets will be that same way as well, that we don't really figure out how to prevent these single points of failure, that there's always a male lion that learns how to use the rest of the pack, deny it free will so it can consume most of the resources itself. That there'll be the strangler figs that'll learn how to dominate the trees and dominate other plants so that they can get all the energy and collapse the system, because the strangler fig doesn't get to make it in the future if it dominates the environment. The male lions, they don't get to make it if they obviously murder all the lionesses. The humans don't get to make it if they continue to feed into an elite, their self-determination, their free will, so that all the resources can be consumed by one small group that is out of control because they have that need to collect the, and they don't have the ability, the restraints to live within their own means. So Mary, I don't think we get to make it if we can't become smart enough to stop fighting with each other over minimal resources, over things as insignificant as skin color, religion, nation, all of the ridiculous concepts that haves encoded in our little silly brains, borders, to collect more than what someone born in a poor country can collect. And people still squabble over these things like these are intelligent concepts, that these are evolved thoughts. Black power, white power, Hispanic power. Y'all got power? I never heard anybody yell Hispanic power. Is it? Y'all got something too? Asians, y'all got some power? Y'all. I don't know. Maybe y'all a little more involved than people who have lighter and darker skin. Because in my country, that's how it is. But that's what I see in my country. I just little silly people, as if a nation, a world dominated by one color is going to be any more psychopathic than a nation dominated by another based on some skin color. A small parasitic group that will eventually destroy themselves. And they are a small parasitic group, Mary. But you know what the problem is when you have these parasites that have this, host-parasite relationship, every now and then you have the one, well, the majority eventually do it for a long enough time where it learns not to kill the host, right? You've got these viruses and parasites that can live in you a lifetime. They don't kill you. They just pull some resources from you. But do we have an elite that's evolved to not kill us? Do we have an elite that's evolved to not destroy planets? Do we have an elite that's evolved to not get us to fight each other? No, we don't. They haven't been doing it long enough. They're not smart enough or evolved enough to know how to siphon our resources without killing us. We don't have a symbiotic relationship. We definitely have a parasitic relationship where they're going to kill us, they're going to kill the host, and they're going to kill themselves. And they're doing it on our power. They're doing it on our consent. They're doing it on our going along with it. Every single day, we get up in the morning, brush your teeth, take a shower, put your deodorant on, get your lotion and your cologne, get in your car, get your coffee, and go get resources for them. Go get your solar energy, collect it, and let them pile it up in the bank, and they give you little droplets of it. They're a cancer. Yes, Aja, they are a cancer. And they're not just killing us, they're killing the planet. And we have haves, have-nots, that are still in full embrace of the haves, that are still completely encoded to fight each other for their own self-determination. It's just saying, we do what we do because of what we align with. Look at what the elites are aligned with. It ain't rainbows and light. No, it isn't. It's not rainbows and light. It's not bunnies and kittens. It is some sort of evil, dark force that's within all of us, that some of us perhaps have learned to live within our own means, but still a large portion want to take more of what everybody has. They want to take more than their share. And that's most of us, which is a scary thing. Most of us aren't happy. Like I was talking about the brother yesterday, the minimalist that I ran into. Most of us, I don't think when I said that he owned 3 shirts and he's one of the happiest people I've ever met in my life. I don't think most people connect with that. Right? They don't connect with, and they don't even understand that. The idea and the concepts of our grandparents, our great grandparents, and those who went back before them, who live within their means happily. Most of us. People power, Christine. Yes, we are people power. Power to the people, but we also are power for this engine that they're building, for the collection of human labor, taking self-determination and taking free will so that they can consolidate energy at the highest levels. We eventually find a new way to collect even better resources, faster, more efficient, ones that don't take lunches, ones that don't come to work upset and low productive because they were just arguing with the husband, ones that don't get sick, ones that work 24/7, processing what a human being can't do in 8 hours. Eventually, they will replace us. That's the evolution of this thing. They'll keep using us till they use us up. That's what a parasite does. That's what cancer does. Cancer dies when it kills the host. Why are we fertilizing the cancer? Somebody tell me this. Why? Why does it make sense to fertilize the cancer and to keep going this route? Christine said Black Panther supported the Rainbow Coalition and all of the oppressed. Christine, but the only reason the Black Panthers did that is because they were on the bottom. It's not because they were black. It's because they were on the bottom. It's the only reason why you have a little more logic, I think, a little more need and drive to do that. If the world was reversed and it was the White Panthers and they were on the bottom, if Shaka Zulu got his cannons and put them on a ship and dominated the whole world, the world would be just as evil. And so, but what did some of the Black Panthers figure out? They figured out that without the white supremacists, that they were going to lose. That's what they figured out. I forgot his name in Chicago. The brother, I always forget his name. Getting old. He realized how this system works. He realized that this is all about a consumption of energy. He realized that if all people don't come together, people power, like you just mentioned, that we all lose. And the elite lose too. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe the elite can figure out a way to keep the world going on robots without the biosphere and environment. I'm highly skeptical about that because I don't think we're as smart as we think we are. We suffer from our hubris. We suffer from this concept and this idea that we don't need the environment, that we can kill off all the mammals, we can kill off the bees, and we can make robotic bees. And I don't think we're that smart. I don't think we're ever that smart. Jennifer's talking about shiny blue objects that distract us. Just stuff. Yes, Jennifer. You know what I was thinking about? The other day I was posting, we were talking about monkeys, how to trap a monkey. You trap a monkey with shiny things. You take a shiny thing and you put it in a log with a hole and the monkey puts his hand in, the monkey won't let go of the shiny thing. We got to stop being dumb monkeys. We got to stop grabbing the shiny thing. The houses, the cars, the consumption of our slaves and our bank accounts, because that's all money is. It represents labor. Fred Hampton, thank you. Fred Hampton was the Black Panther who finally figured it out and said, we got to work together or this isn't going to work. And he reached out to the white supremacists that, listen, we're being played against each other and they're going to kill us all. And right when he figured that out, they killed him. The elites know how this game is played. As long as you're stupid enough That's not the right word. I keep going there. As long as you don't have diverse experience enough with a wide variety of people in different countries and realize that they're always playing us against each other for these silly things that never end up mattering in the end. Ignorance, not a demeaning ignorance, but an ignorance in terms of you were raised in a all purple community and all you know is purple. And somebody convinced you that the red people were a reason for your problems and not the elite that actually designed and architected the system. People, we need a new model. This world does not work. We need a new. I got in trouble yesterday. Let me tell you. Oh man, I got in trouble yesterday. Ooh boy, goodness gracious. But you know what? Sometimes you got to get in trouble to learn. I'm just trying to learn. I have friends all over the place, and I have to learn from them. I have friends that just live in communities I've never interfaced with because I was born into a black community and raised Christian. I was given too much indoctrination by the elites, and I need to know more. Now, I was lucky that I had a lot of poor white friends, and I understood a lot of the trials that those particular people, not all white folk, but these particular poor white folk were going through. And I realized that our struggles are always all the same. A little different flavor of struggle, but it's always all the same. But this model doesn't work. Not for us and not for them. A model that keeps us all divided, stealing resources from each other, trying as hard as we can to become a have, sending our kids to college, teaching them that they're not a part of some quantum physics, Gaia, multi-dimensional, spiritual, one organism, and that we're actually all different. And it's a good idea to steal resources from somebody else through a college education and a philosophy degree because we don't like them, because they want to drink beer and ride a tractor all day and do a tractor pull. That it's a good idea to steal resources from them because we think they're hippies and they just want to sit back and smoke ganja all day and come up with concepts and thoughts for better cars, more efficient use of energy, free energy. That because they're in a different country, they're a different religion, that it's a good idea to raise our kids to be a part of their own little ignorant sub-collective as opposed to the collective that we all are. It sounds crazy, but we actually are all one. And you don't murder anybody else without murdering yourself. You don't hurt anybody else without hurting yourself. You don't hurt anybody else without hurting your collective. It's not an anti-college message. I'm not saying don't send your kids to college. I'm saying we need to learn how to be collective minded, not ignorant like the elite who run the world, not ignorant species that are still fighting to collect solar energy from everything else and learn how to share solar energy with everything else. Phil said tractor driving is fun but noisy. Yeah. Well, you know, and what is fun? I mean, fun is a good thing, right? When people are having fun, they're highly productive. They come up with amazing creative things. Like go back to, what was that movie, Grease Lightning? Some of the drivers of the derbies. You know, some of the most creative people on this planet are what y'all would call rednecks who run tractor pulls all day, coming up with creative models that crash derbies, crashing cars into each other all day. The people in prison who are forced to be creative and think like a hive mind collective against the COs. The people in impoverished countries who have to figure out how to make electricity out of urine. The ones who are forced to do these things. Some of the most creative people, my goodness, West Bank and Gaza. They're making kites with little bombs on them. Not are they bombs, fire, whatever it is, to try to survive, to get a message to the world, to try to inflict a little bit of damage on an elite force that is inflicting major damage on them. Adversity brings and struggle brings innovation. Much better than greed brings innovation. Now, it's not a belief and it's a good idea to put people in struggling environments. But if you murder those people, how do we as a collective utilize their innovations for everybody? Right? Like we say, how do we know one of the kids who dies every 10 seconds on this planet from starvation isn't the next Nikola Tesla? We could have just killed our Nikola Tesla just now. Someone who came up with a concept through their struggle and innovation that could change the entire planet, change everything. Nikola Tesla's motors are in everything we make. How do we know that we didn't just starve that kid just now in Yemen and they'll never develop it? We have to become sentient. We're not sentient creatures. We are really, collectively, we are probably the dumbest thing on the planet, pretending that we have intelligence and sentience. And now we are believing that non-native Arab leaders are evil. When will we ever learn? Right, Christine, and why? Why are they evil? Why are we indoctrinated and programmed to believe that the Arab leaders are evil? Because they don't have Rothschild banks? Because they're not a part of this energy collective system? These elites that develop banks that collect energy from every central bank all around the world? And so they're evil because they're not a part of our banking system. But you know, Christine, the problem is a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, they're living in their indoctrinated box and they can't see out of that. Which is why I say I think the internet can change everything. If we can actually use it to share information as opposed to argue about our ignorance, right? Like, I know. Boy, I got in trouble the other day. That's what I was going to say. I got in trouble yesterday. I post things to try to see what people think and to try to share information so I can learn and they can learn. Someone took it in a direction, and I guess I'm supposed to be boycotting Chick-fil-A. I'm not interested in boycotting Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A isn't doing anything more dangerous to us, the people, than every other corporation involved in the collection of solar radiation through the denial of free will and self-determination. I boycott all of them. I don't think selectively boycotting one company is going to help anything. I think if anything, that feeds into our indoctrination fights. That feeds into our birth lottery ignorance. That feeds into our stork racism. I haven't used that word in a long time. Monday to stork. I don't know where you. In America, we have this belief that storks actually bring us, and they bring us in these little cloths and drop us off. People use their stork racism to fight. And I guess for me, I'm not interested in fighting with anybody over their stork racism. I'm not interested in fighting with anybody over their indoctrinated ignorance. I'm not interested in fighting with anybody over those concepts. I think the majority of fights people get into all day long on the internet and in the physical world are over their stork racism, birth lotteries, which is the same thing, and they're indoctrinated, they're programming ignorance. The vast majority of them. And I don't feel like fighting anybody over that. Like, to me, that's stupid. It's stupid. It's because that's what these systems want. The fight has always been haves getting the have-nots fighting over insignificant things so the haves can take all the energy home. Why in the world would I fight with anybody over boycotting Chick-fil-A? Boycotting cell phones, boycotting blood minerals. It all ends up the same way. That fight isn't based in any wide-facing solution. That fight is based in keeping the battle lines the borders of indoctrination and stork birth lotteries. That's what that fight is. That the fight wasn't even your idea. The fight to fight one corporation over one birth lottery indoctrination problem, that's not even your fight. They gave you that fight. And they gave you the people to fight. So you don't focus on them. You have to look up. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that, Augustine. It looks like we froze a little bit. You have to go back, watch the parts that skipped out. I was still going, but I saw a drop off. The elite, the haves, they only win. They only collect the solar radiation they do is because they give us the fights that we have. And if we're not smart enough to realize they give us the fights by denying information, which is their have, one of their biggest haves, they deny us the full information. And you don't realize that it's your job to go out and collect the rest of the information and become as smart as the people who work widely across multiple groups all over the world to realize this, the naturalists and the botanists who look back and realize also and give us the data that everything is about the collection of energy, then we lose and the elite lose. It is our obligation. We actually have an obligation to the haves and the elite to stop them. It is our obligation because we love them too. You gotta love everybody because everybody is everybody. You are them. You are just a different sensor in this quantum physics system relationship thing, and you just have a little more wisdom than they do. And you have to restrain their greed, or we all lose. Same thing with the ghetto and the trailer park in the barrio. You just have more information from one particular area than that they don't have. Same thing with male and female. They just have a little more different information and experience than what you have. And if you don't share the information and experience, you live in your own land of ignorance, and we all lose because we can't survive without each other. It is physically impossible to survive without each other. All patents go through Department of Defense first. Yes, Brother Mark, because you already know it and you get it. You understand that all patents, all innovation has to go through a central system of determining, can this help us collect more solar energy than the have-nots? And if it can, they keep it. A lot of people don't know what I'm saying. You might have to go back to the beginning, but everything on this planet has always been the consumption of energy, and all matter is energy. The system works to put the individual down. You can't even collect rainwater from the gutters on your home to escape dehydration. No, you can't, Galen. It's illegal. It's illegal in a lot of places because we let it be illegal. This is in America. It's coming to your country too. Anything that empowers the have-nots will be illegal. That's just a simple fact. Law is the opposite of freedom. Freedom brings fun. Freedom brings collectivism. Freedom brings all of those happy things. Freedom in having a farm, you can't get the soldiers to go up, the poor farmers to go off and fight a fight if they have freedom. You can't make a terrorist out of somebody you leave alone and let them farm their own land that's over top of some coltan or oil that you want. You have to bring about bad conditions and scarcity to do that. And Brother Gown, I think about in America, this is why they outlaw the wood burning stoves. They're outlawing rainwater collection. They're outlawing these things because if you funnel a population of people who are fighting each other into requiring the same infrastructure, you own them. This is George Carlin who said that. So you don't have rulers, you have owners. They own you. They own your entire country. They own your car. They own your house. They own your children. They own it all. And the best argument we can come up with is we want to fight with somebody else because we don't like how they look. We don't like how they were raised. We don't like where the stork dropped them. We have some thinking to do. We have a lot of thinking to do. We are just around the corner from some of the most significant breakthroughs in technologies ever. If any of the theories about 5G are correct and they actually can pull things like thought, they can do things like control people. If there's any relationship to MK Ultra or any of the stuff, I have a lot of conspiracy friends. And what is a conspiracy? You know, go back to the definition. It was a CIA construct. You know, people say, "Oh, well, you're just a conspiracy theorist," they'll say to people. We're supposed to be conspiracy theorists right now. Because it's not a lie to collect solar radiation, denying information. Isn't that a conspiracy? Isn't that the basis of what a government is, and classified information and robbing other nations, invading them, and regime changes? If a group conspires against you and that group runs the world, it is your obligation to become a conspiracy theorist. It is your obligation to put together theories based on facts to figure out who is screwing you, why, and how. It's called critical thought and a higher level of thinking. That's why every time I hear the word, when people say conspiracy theorist, I look at one of my friends and they'll say, "You're a conspiracy theorist." All I see is a person that's failing at critical thought. And I feel sorry for them. I see a person that lives in an ignorant land, an ignorant domain, where they don't really realize how this earth works, how microbiology and bacteria works. If you don't have a tinfoil hat, Mary says she wears her tinfoil hat proudly. If you don't have a tinfoil hat, there's something wrong with how your brain functions right now. And I'm having a little fun with it, but do you get what I'm saying? Does that kind of make some sense? Like, if all of our governments are conspiring against us and we're not capable of figuring that out, and we don't have the will or the wish to actually fix it, we are a lower species that probably shouldn't actually be here. Survival of the fittest never changed. It just morphed in shape. The fittest people around this world aren't still just the physically strongest and the fastest. They're the ones with the highest level of thought. They're the ones to be able to look at their environment, look at their world, critically think about it, realize that they were being kept in a place of ignorance, reach out to different communities to try to figure out what's happening in their community, also to sort out why there's such scarcity in their own community. People say I'm crazy because I got friends that are in the Klan. People say I'm crazy because I have friends that make up communities I'm supposed to hate, or I'm supposed to say they're the others. People think I'm crazy. I got friends in Israel and I got friends in Gaza and the West Bank. If we don't have the ability to have a higher level of thought, we lose survival of the fittest. If we don't have the information that they have, because that is just another game by the elite to play you against other people that you should be making friendships with, that you should be trying to understand, that you should be at least finding a respectful level of common ground. You don't have to agree with somebody to be a friend of somebody. You don't even agree with your family. Half the time, you don't even like your family, and they're still your family. You don't have to like people. You just have to understand your relationship with them, that you are connected to them, whether you like it or not. We trust people that may not be trustworthy. That's spot on true, Grace. We do. We trust our elite and they're completely not trustworthy. You can't trust them with anything. I mean, look at our food, look at our water, look at the air we breathe, look at the things we buy. We live in completely toxic environments from top to bottom, and we trust the hell out of them. And we're mad at somebody on the internet because they're affiliated with a group or they buy some waffle fries from Chick-fil-A. If we're not smarter than to understand how we're being played, we're not supposed to be here. Something else is supposed to take our place. If we can't evolve past that idea to fight with somebody, because that fight was given to us. You don't hate because of hate. You hate because you were programmed by people who own you to hate. And they have that hate because they were programmed by people who own them to hate you. It's your job to make a friend with that person and show them the reasons that they hate you. They don't really need to hate you. Hate is an interesting topic. It is. There's a lot of hate that actually has basis, though. Usually, it's because there was somebody who was worthy of that hate, and it just got portrayed and put on everybody. But they play us with these things. And if you realize you're being played, then you can think beyond that. Why do well-educated people who use fact-checking sites use the frontal lobal checking site? Why do well-educated people use fact-checking sites? Question mark. Use the frontal lobe checking site. Yes. Yeah. Oh, you know what, Christine, you're a little too smart for me. Christine got some deep thoughts. I had to process it a little. I drink a little more coffee. Why in the world would you use a fact-checking site? I think that's what I think you're saying, a little deeper than I am. Why in the world, if you have a frontal lobe, would you use a fact-checking site? If you have common sense and you can go out and collect information and do your own research, if you know that this internet thing is being utilized to drive our thinking in certain directions so that these elites can collect more solar radiation, why in the world would you go out to Snopes and trust it? Why in the world? I think it's because of what Christine said, because you're higher educated. That's why, because you're higher indoctrinated. They've given you more reason to use your own hate. They've given you more reason to collect solar radiation so other people can't collect it through your college degree and your education, more than what you can use a car that drives faster than you need to go, multiple cars that you can drive at one time, a bigger house than what you can actually clean with 5 bathrooms, because you have a hate. You have a hate for people through your greed. It's no different. It's no different. You're denying people resources because you don't have enough love for them. So you sent your kids to college and you taught them to do it too. You gave them their hate. A lack of love is hate. What is it if we live in a country called the United States and you got kids dying in trailer parks because they don't have food? You got kids dying in the ghettos because they don't have food in the barrio. It's hate. Lack of love is hate. But it's well-mean hate. It's good hate though, y'all. It's good hate. It's good hate. It's happy hate. It's happy hate because you can go to the park and house look nice, car look nice, wife is happy. It's good hate. You know, but that's why they go to Snopes. Because they don't open their mind and think about these things. They go to Snopes because maybe they've thought about it and they're scared to accept that their education really is just indoctrination. That their education is actually enveloped in the acceptance and the love of hate. That their education, it walked them into a mindset like the elites of being solar radiation thieves. Take more than what you can get. Take on slave labor. Put it in a bank. so I can retire with it, so somebody else doesn't have it. But it's not hate. Money in my bank account, no, those aren't slaves. Slaves were the white man. He did that. Outside of the fact that slave, every planet, every country on this planet had them. Every person enslaved somebody else. Colonization, because the white man did that. I have friends with all these. I'm friends with all these people because of y'all's ignorance. And the colonizers, the white man colonized the earth, and going back to the earliest rulers in Egypt, were not white. They weren't even close to it. Truth is an amazing thing. Truth will let you examine your own heart. And the more truth that I try to dig out, the more I discover, the further I try to get from my birth lottery, my birth privileges, my stork privileges, my birth supremacy, my stork supremacy, my parental primacy, because I had good parents. I can use that to help a world, to help the collective, the quantum entangled people of the earth, or I can use that to deploy my happy hate, so I can have more happy and you can live in hate. India Times is some balanced news most of the time. Thank you, Brother Mark. I have to check it out. Because the only truth that you're going to get from news can't come from your community. It can't come from your pod. You can't be a pod person. If you're a pod person, you're a fool. Your pod is given information to control you because they own you. Americans are given certain information because your owners need you to think a certain way because they need to do something with you to collect solar radiation. Poor black communities, poor white communities, poor Hispanic communities, they're given pod information because they own you and they need to control you. The greatest revolution is in your own mind. We don't need a violent revolution. We don't need guns. We need books and we need open minds. Your greatest weapon in fixing the planet, fixing it for your kids, if they're important to you, is having an open mind. Getting out of your indoctrination. Stop fighting just Chick-fil-A. Fight the model of why Chick-fil-A exists. I like waffle fries, man. I do. I eat them very rarely, but they cook them in peanut sauce. I don't want them cooked in animal fat. A little healthier. They use real potatoes. I don't like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A shouldn't exist. The basis of that discussion from yesterday was you gotta focus on the root cause, the greed for solar radiation. That's why Chick-fil-A exists, has the power it does, so it can say the vile, indoctrinated things that it did to its pod community. If you take down the greed for solar radiation, you take down the system that allows it to be okay for a few to collect all the resources to generate hate and scarcity in other communities, you fix everything. Amen, Brother Gown. Conspire to be more human with other humans today. Sound like a church. Brother Gown. It's one of my atheist friends. It sound like a church. Always drop us to conspire today. Church, come on down. Accept and give your life back to humanity. You know, and isn't religion an indoctrination? It is. Because they own you. And they've taken this spiritual thing that your God thing tried to tell you to control you. They've made you a pod person. They've told you what to do, which 9 times out of 10 is the exact opposite of what that spiritual God, quantum physics, whatever it is, thing told you to do. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. Sister Grace, I'm gonna let it go on that. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. If you're willing to give somebody the shirt off of your back, I think you made it. If you're still fighting to take the shirt off of their back, you definitely have more evolving to do. You have more exposure. If you haven't realized that when you take the shirt off their back, you're actually taking the shirt off of your back. You're actually making more of a violent world that your kids are going to have to fix. Be okay with being last. I have to be first. People usually first are the most ignorant people anyway. Be okay with being last. Let somebody else be first. Not to always be first. We have a world of human beings that are evolved enough with being last. We get to be one of those planets that explores the universe. We get to be one of those planets that maybe meets some of these God things and understands that. You're not going to slow down automation. You're not going to slow down technology. You're not going to slow down this whole march to being cyborgs. You're not going to slow down the march to being robots, because it's in the core foundation of what we are. We are solar radiation collectors. That's why there's suns everywhere. We collect that energy, and we're not going to stop. All we can do is either give someone the solar radiation off our back if we don't need it. Creates less hate. That's called love. That's all that is. It's just called love. The willingness to share. It's just called love. That's all it is. Love is the answer. Sounds cliche, but love actually is the answer. Love is the only way you conquer hate, people. Anyway, it's Gerard. I do love y'all. Y'all try to have a good day. Share some of that solar radiation. Put away your happy hate. Put away your happy hate, and hate will disappear. Look in that mirror. Y'all have a great day.